Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome back to the daily readings of Srila Prabhupada's books. You know, recently I've been getting, right here in the live studios here in Hythe, a little bit out of the way place on the southeast coast of England. We can see, in a clear day, I can see France from my window across the English Channel. And I've been getting messages from various places explaining to me how the preaching is going very well. I just got one the other day from Rajaloka, who told me that, today actually, that people are very receptive and they're asking questions that indicate that they want to know what to do. The whole world is in a state of confusion and fear and suffering. So this is the answer. We get the answers to the questions that anyone asks us by assimilating the Caitanya-caritämrta, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, and especially the Caitanya-caritämrta. I say that because although it is a fact, an advanced literature, postgraduate study of the Bhagavad Gita, spiritual science, at the same time, the way it's constructed, the way it's laid out, with, as I've said many times over this last few days, how different verses from different scriptures are strewn together in order to make sense out of the whole Vedic literature. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, as I've been reading every day, I'll read it again now, he was talking about the glories of the Sri Caitanya-caritämrta, as I've mentioned also repeatedly, in a poetic sense. This isn't to be taken literally, but it shows the depth of the attachment that he had to Caitanya-caritämrta. And indirectly it shows how Lord Chaitanya's personality and his mercy is everything for the Kali Yuga. He was lecturing on a place near the, right next to the Ganges River in I don't know where it was, I think it was in Bengal, Munjer. And there was a tremor, earth tremor, and the Ganga came up close to where they were, and then it receded again. It wasn't a serious flood, but it was very mild. And then he said this, he said, in due course, Mahapralaya, devastating floods, will inundate the entire universe. If you attempt to survive by swimming in that deluge, then do not neglect to take hold of Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and Sri Caitanya-caritämrta. Or if you cannot hold all three, then release Bhagavad Gita. If necessary, you may also relinquish Srimad Bhagavatam, but under no circumstances release your hold on Sri Caitanya-caritämrta. For if this one book remains, then the flood can do no actual damage, because after it is subsided, the message of Shastra can be revived from Sri Caitanya-caritämrta alone, it being the essence of all Shastra. Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So we've reached the 7th chapter of the Ädi-lilä. And we're just starting the chapter. This chapter glorifies the Panchatattva, explains who each and every member of the Panchatattva was, and it's just pure nectar. Text 2. Jai Jai Mahaprabhu Sri Krishna Chaitanya Tanhada Charitashrita Charanashrita Se Badadanya. Let me offer glorification to the Supreme Lord, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. One who has taken shelter at his lotus feet is the most glorified person. Purport. Prabhu means master. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the supreme master of all masters. Therefore he is called Mahaprabhu. Any person who takes shelter of Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is most glorified, because by the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is able to get promotion to the platform of loving service to the Lord, which is transcendental to salvation. I'll read that again. Any person who takes shelter of Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is most glorified, because by the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is able to get promotion to the platform of loving service to the Lord, which is transcendental to salvation. 3. In the beginning, I have discussed the truth about the spiritual master. Now I shall try to explain the Panchatattva. Purport. In the first chapter of the Caitanya-caritämrta, Ädi-lilä, the author, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, has described the initiator, spiritual master, and the instructor, spiritual master, in the verse beginning with the words Vande Gurun Isha Bhaktan Isham Ishamatakatakam. In that verse there are 6 transcendental subject matters, of which the truth regarding the spiritual master has already been described. Now the author will describe the other 5 tattvas, truths, namely Isha Tattva, the Supreme Lord, his expansion tattva, his incarnation tattva, his energy tattva, and his devotee tattva. Text 4. These 5 tattvas incarnate with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and thus the Lord executes his Sankirtan movement with great pleasure. Purport. In Srimad Bhagavatam 11.532, there is the following statement regarding Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Krishna Varnam Tvisha Krishnang Sangopangastra Parshadam Jagyai Sankirtana Prayaya Yajanti Hi Sumedasaha. In the age of Kali, people who are endowed with sufficient intelligence will worship the Lord, who is accompanied by his associates by performance of the Sankirtan Yagya. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is always accompanied by his plenary expansion, Sri Nityananda Prabhu, his incarnation, Sri Advaita Prabhu, his internal potency, Sri Gadadhar Prabhu, and his marginal potency, Srivas Prabhu. He is in the midst of them as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One should know that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is always accompanied by these other tattvas. Therefore, our obeisances to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are complete when we say, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar, Srivasadi Gaura, Bhaktavrinda. As preachers of the Krishna consciousness movement, we first offer our obeisances to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by chanting this Panchatattva mantra. Then we say, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. There are 10 offenses in the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, but these are not considered in the chanting of the Panchatattva mantra, namely, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is known as Maha Vadanyavatara, the most magnanimous incarnation, for he does not consider the offenses of the fallen souls. Thus, to derive the full benefit of the chanting of the Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, we must first take shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, learn the Panchatattva Mahamantra, and then chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. That will be very effective. Taking advantage of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, many unscrupulous devotees manufacture a Mahamantra of their own. Sometimes they sing Bhaja Nitai Gora Radhe Sham, Hare Krishna Hare Ram, or Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Hare Krishna Hare Rama, Sri Radhe Govinda. Actually, however, one should chant the names of the full Panchatattva, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, and then the 16 words, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. But these unscrupulous, less intelligent men confuse the entire process. Of course, since they are also devotees, they can express their feelings in that way. But the method prescribed by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pure devotees is to first chant the full Panchatattva mantra and then chant the Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Prabhupada's making a point. What a wonderful purport. How many times? 1, 2, 3, 4. He chants the Maha Mantra 4 times in that purport. The Panchatattva Mantra 3 times. Now once, Srila Prabhupada was asked about a group which has a kind of an ashram not far from Krishna Balaram Mandir in Vrindavan, very close. And they sing this Bhajanita Gaura Radhesham, Hare Krishna Hare Ram. And so the devotees were asking, do they get benefit? Because all the names that they're chanting are names of Krishna or Radharani or Gaura-Nitai. And Prabhupada said, yes, they will make some advancement. And then they said, so can they go back to Godhead doing that? He said, yes, in 700 lifetimes. Because they're making offense by chanting these. Once, this word bhaja, in the beginning of this mantra, the devotees in Mayapur, they learned to chant Jai before the Panchatattva Mahamantra, Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya. And Prabhupada heard it and he cut it immediately. Because that's what certain Apasampradayas chant. And Prabhupada wanted to very clearly distinguish our movement and himself and cut them from those people. So it's a very strong point, and that's why Prabhupada's repeating it again and again, that our process is actually, in our kirtans, to chant the Panchatattva Mahamantra and then the Mahamantra. Text 5. Spiritually, there are no differences between these 5 tattvas, for on the transcendental platform, everything is absolute. Yet there are also varieties in the spiritual world, and in order to taste these spiritual varieties, one should distinguish between them. Purport. In his Anubhashya commentary, Sri Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur describes the Panchatattva as follows. The supreme energetic, the personality of Godhead, manifesting in order to enjoy 5 kinds of pastimes, appears as the members of the Panchatattva. Actually, there is no difference between them because they are situated on the absolute platform. But they manifest different spiritual varieties as a challenge to the impersonalists to taste different kinds of spiritual humors or rasas. In the Vedas it is said, Parasya Shaktir Vividaiva Shruyate. The varieties of energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are differently known. From this statement of the Vedas, one can understand that there are eternal varieties of humors or tastes in the spiritual world. Sri Gauranga, Sri Nityananda, Sri Advaita, Sri Gadadhar, and Srivas Thakur are all on the same platform, but in spiritually distinguishing between them, one should understand that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the form of a devotee. Nityananda Prabhu appears in the form of a devotee's spiritual master. Advaita Prabhu is the form of the Bhakta, devotee, incarnation. Gadadhar Prabhu is the energy of a Bhakta, and Srivas Thakur is a pure devotee. Thus there are spiritual distinctions between them. The Bhakta Rupa, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Bhakta Sarupa, Sri Nityananda Prabhu, and the Bhakta Avatara, Sri Advaita Prabhu, are described as the Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself, His immediate manifestation, and His plenary expansion. They all belong to the Vishnu category. Although the spiritual and marginal energies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are non-different from the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu, they are predominated subjects, whereas Lord Vishnu is the predominator. As such, although they are on the same platform, they have appeared differently in order to facilitate tasting of transcendental mellows. Actually, however, there is no possibility of one being different from the other, for the worshipper and the worshipable cannot be separated at any stage. On the absolute platform, one cannot be understood without the other. 1 second, please. Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Surupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhaktashaktikam. Let me offer my obeisances unto Lord Sri Krishna, who has manifested himself in 5 as a devotee, expansion of a devotee, incarnation of a devotee, pure devotee, and devotional energy. Purport. Sri Nityananda Prabhu is the immediate expansion of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as his brother. He is the personified spiritual bliss of Satchidananda Vigraha. His body is transcendental and full of ecstasy in devotional service. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is therefore called Bhakta Rupa, the form of a devotee. And Sri Nityananda Prabhu is called Bhakta Sarupa, the expansion of a devotee. Sri Advaita Prabhu, the incarnation of a devotee, is Vishnu Tattva and belongs to the same category. There are also different types of bhaktas or devotees on the platforms of neutrality, servitude, friendship, parenthood, and conjugal love. Devotees like Sri Damodar, Sri Gadadhar, and Sri Ramananda are different energies. This confirms the Vedic sutra, Parasya Shaktir Bibidaiva Shruyate. All these bhakta subjects taken together constitute Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Krishna himself. Text 7. Krishna, the reservoir of all pleasure, is the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, the Supreme Controller. No one is greater than or equal to Sri Krishna. Yet he appears as the son of Maharaj Nanda. Purport. In this verse, Kaviraj Goswami gives an accurate description of Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by stating that although no one is equal to or greater than him, and he is the reservoir of all spiritual pleasure, he nevertheless appears as the son of Maharaj Nanda and Yashodamayi. Text 8. Lord Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the supreme enjoyer in the rasa dance. He is the leader of the damsels of Braja, and all others are simply his associates. Purport. The word rasadi vilasi, the enjoyer of the rasa dance, is very important. The rasa dance can be enjoyed only by Sri Krishna because he is the supreme leader and chief of the damsels of Vrindavan. All others are his devotees and associates. Although no one can compare with Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there are many unscrupulous rascals who imitate the rasa dance of Sri Krishna. They are Mayavadis, and people should be wary of them. The rasa dance can be performed only by Sri Krishna and no one else. Text 9. The self-same Lord Krishna advented himself as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with all his eternal associates, who are also equally glorious. Text 10. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is the Supreme Controller, the one personality of Godhead, has ecstatically become a devotee. Yet his body is transcendental and not materially tinged. Purport. There are different tattvas or truths, including Isha Tattva, Jiva Tattva, and Shakti Tattva. Isha Tattva refers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, who is the Supreme Living Force. In the Katha Upanishad, it is said, Nityo Nityanang, Chaitanas Chaitananam. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, who is the Supreme Living Force. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the Supreme Eternal and the Supreme Living Force. The living entities are also eternal and are also living forces, but they are very minute in quantity, whereas the Supreme Lord is the Supreme Living Force and the Supreme Eternal. The Supreme Eternal never accepts a body of a temporary material nature, whereas the living entities, who are part and parcel of the Supreme Eternal, are prone to do so. Thus, according to the Vedic mantras, the Supreme Lord is the Supreme Master of innumerable living entities. The Mayavadi philosophers, however, equate the minute living entities with the Supreme Living Entity. Because they recognize no distinctions between them, their philosophy is called Advaitavad, or monism. Factually, however, there is a distinction. Factually, however, there is a distinction. This verse is especially meant to impart to the Mayavadi philosopher the understanding that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the Supreme Controller. The Supreme Controller, the Personality of Godhead, is Krishna himself, but as a transcendental pastime, he has accepted the form of a devotee, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, when the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, comes to this planet exactly like a human being, some rascals consider him to be one of the ordinary humans. One who thinks in that mistaken way is described as mudha, or foolish. Therefore, one should not foolishly consider Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to be an ordinary human being. He has accepted the ecstasy of a devotee, but he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Since the time of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, there have been many imitation incarnations of Krishna who cannot understand that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself and not an ordinary human being. Less intelligent men create their own gods by advertising a human being as God. This is their mistake. Therefore, hear the words Tanra Shuddha Kavilara, Tanra Shuddha Kalevara, warn that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's body is not material, but purely spiritual. One should not, therefore, accept Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as an ordinary devotee, although he has assumed the form of a devotee. Yet one must certainly know that although Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because he accepted the ecstasy of a devotee, one should not misunderstand his pastimes and place him in exactly the same position as Krishna. It is for this reason only that when Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was addressed as Krishna or Vishnu, he blocked his ears, not wanting to hear himself addressed as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There is a class of devotees called Gauranga Nagari who stage plays of Krishna's pastimes using a vigraha or form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is a mistake that is technically called rasa basa. Rasa basa. While Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is trying to enjoy as a devotee, one should not disturb him by addressing him as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One second. Text 11. The transcendental mellow of conjugal love of Krishna is so wonderful that Krishna himself accepts the form of a devotee to relish and taste it fully. Purport. Although Krishna is the reservoir of all pleasure, he has a special intention to taste himself by accepting the form of a devotee. It is to be concluded that although Lord Chaitanya is present in the form of a devotee, he is Krishna himself. Therefore Vaishnavas sing, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nahi Anya. Radha and Krishna combined together are Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And as Sri Swarup Damodar Goswami has said, Chaitanya-kyam prakatam aduna tadvayam chaikyam aptam. Radha and Krishna assumed oneness in the form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Text 12. For this reason, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Supreme Teacher, accepts the form of a devotee and accepts Lord Nityananda as his elder brother. Text 13. Sri Advaita Acharya is Lord Chaitanya's incarnation as a devotee. Therefore, these three tattvas, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, and Advaita Gosai, are the predominators or masters. Purport. Gosai means Goswami, a person who has full control over the senses and mind is called a Goswami or Gosai. One who does not have such control is called a Godasa, or a servant of the senses, and cannot become a spiritual master. A spiritual master who actually has control over the mind and senses is called Goswami. Although the Goswami title has become a hereditary designation for unscrupulous men, actually the title Gosai or Goswami began from Sri Rupa Goswami, who presented himself as an ordinary grihasta and minister in government service, but became a Goswami when he was actually elevated by the instruction of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Therefore, Goswami is not a hereditary title, but refers to one's qualifications. When one is highly elevated in spiritual advancement, regardless of where from he comes, he may be called Goswami. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Nityananda Prabhu, and Sri Advaita Gosai Prabhu are natural Goswamis because they belong to the Vishnu Tattva category. As such, all of them are Prabhus, predominators, or masters, and they are sometimes called Chaitanya Gosai, Nityananda Gosai, and Advaita Gosai. Unfortunately, their so-called descendants who do not have the qualifications of Goswamis have accepted this title as a hereditary designation or a professional degree that is not in accord with the Shastric injunctions. Text 14. One of them is Mahaprabhu, and the other two are Prabhus. These two Prabhus serve the lotus feet of Mahaprabhu. Purport. Although Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Nityananda Prabhu, and Sri Advaita Prabhu all belong to the same Vishnu category, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is nevertheless accepted as the Supreme, and the other two Prabhus engage in his transcendental loving service to teach ordinary living entities that every one of us is subordinate to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In another place in the Caitanya-caritämrta, Adi 5, 142, it is said, Ekale Ishvara Krishna Ara Sabhabritya. The only Supreme Master is Krishna, and all others, both Vishnu Tattva and Jiva Tattva, engage in the service of the Lord. Both the Vishnu Tattva, as Nityananda Prabhu and Advaita, and the Jiva Tattva, Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Brinda, engage in the service of the Lord. But one must distinguish between the Vishnu Tattva servitors and the Jiva Tattva servitors. The Jiva Tattva servitor, the spiritual master, is actually the servitor God. As explained in previous verses, in the absolute world there are no such differences. Yet one must observe these differences in order to distinguish the Supreme from his subordinates. Text 15. The three predominators, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, and Advaita Prabhu, are worshipable by all living entities, and the fourth principle, Sri Gadadhar Prabhu, is to be understood as their worshipper. Purport. In his Anubhashya, Sri Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, describing the truth about the Panchatattva, explains that we should understand that Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the supreme predominator, and that Nityananda Prabhu and Advaita Prabhu are his subordinates, but are also predominators. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Lord, and Nityananda Prabhu and Advaita Prabhu are manifestations of the Supreme Lord. All of them are Vishnu Tattva, the Supreme, and are therefore worshipable by the living entities. Although the two other tattvas within the category of the Panchatattva, namely Shakti Tattva and Jiva Tattva, represented by Gadadhar and Srivas, are worshippers of the Supreme Lord, they are in the same category because they eternally engage in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Text 16. There are innumerable pure devotees of the Lord, headed by Srivas Thakur, who are known as unalloyed devotees. Text 17. The devotees headed by Gadadhar Pandit are to be considered incarnations of the internal potency of the Lord. They are confidential devotees engaged in the service of the Lord. Purport. In connection with verse 16 and 17, Sri Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur explains in his Anubhasha, there are specific symptoms by which the internal devotees and the unalloyed or pure devotees are to be known. All unalloyed devotees are Shakti Tattvas, or potencies of the Lord. Some of them are situated in conjugal love, and others in parental affection, fraternity, and servitude. Certainly all of them are devotees, but by making a comparative study, it is found that the devotees or potencies who are engaged in conjugal love are better situated than the others. Thus, devotees who are in a relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead in conjugal love are considered to be the most confidential devotees of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Those who engage in the service of Lord Nityananda Prabhu and Lord Advaita Prabhu generally have relationships of parental love, fraternity, servitude, and neutrality. When such devotees develop great attachment for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they too become situated within the intimate circle of devotees in conjugal love. This gradual development of devotional service is described by Sri Narottam Das Thakur as follows. Gauranga bolite habe pulaka sharira, hari hari bolite nayane bhabi nira. Ara kabi nitai chandra karuna karibu, sangsara basana mora kabi tuchja habe. Vishaya chadiya kabi shuddha habe mana, kabi hama heriba Shri Vrindavana. Rupa Raghunatha Padi haiba akuti, kabi hama bujaba Shri Yugala Piriti. When will there be eruptions in my body as soon as I chant the name of Lord Chaitanya? And when will there be incessant torrents of tears as soon as I chant the holy names Hare Krishna? When will Lord Nityananda be merciful toward me and free me from all desires for material enjoyment? When will my mind be completely freed from all contamination of desires for material pleasure? Only at that time will it be possible for me to understand Vrindavan. Only if I become attached to the instructions given by the 6 Goswamis, headed by Rupa Goswami and Raghunath Das Goswami, will it be possible for me to understand the conjugal love of Radha and Krishna. By attachment to the devotional service of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, one immediately comes to the ecstatic position. When he develops his love for Nityananda Prabhu, he is freed from all attachment to the material world. And at that time he becomes eligible to understand the Lord's pastimes When he develops his love for Nityananda Prabhu, he is freed from all attachment to the material world, and at that time he becomes eligible to understand the Lord's pastimes in Vrindavan. In that condition, when one develops his love for the 6 Goswamis, he can understand the conjugal love between Radha and Krishna. These are the different stages of a pure devotee's promotion to conjugal love in the service of Radha and Krishna in the intimate relationship with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Text 18 and 19. The internal devotees, or potencies, are all eternal associates in the pastimes of the Lord. Only with them does the Lord advent to propound the Sankirtan movement, and only with them does the Lord taste the mellow of conjugal love, and only with them does he distribute this love of God to people in general. Yansabha Laya Prabhupada Nitya Bihara, Yansabha Laya Prabhupada Kirtana Prachara, Yansabha Laya Karena Prema Aswadana, Yansabha Laya Danakari Premadana. The internal devotees or potencies are all eternal associates in the pastimes of the Lord. Only with them does the Lord advent to propound the Sankirtan movement. Only with them does the Lord taste the mellow of conjugal love, and only with them does he distribute this love of God to people in general. Purport. Distinguishing between pure devotees and internal or confidential devotees, Sri Rupa Goswami in his book Upadeshamrita traces the following gradual process of development. Out of many thousands of karmis, one is better when he is situated in perfect Vedic knowledge. Out of many such learned scholars and philosophers, one who was actually liberated from material bondage is better. And out of many such persons who are actually liberated, one who is a devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is considered to be the best. Among the many such transcendental lovers of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the gopis are the best. And among the gopis, Srimati Radhika is the best. Srimati Radhika is very dear to Lord Krishna, and similarly her pawns, namely Shyamakund and Radhakund, are also very dear to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur comments in his Anubhashya that among the 5 tattvas, 2 are energies, Shakti tattva, and the other 3, and the 3 others are energetic, Shaktiman tattva. Unalloyed and internal devotees are both engaged in the favorable culture of Krishna consciousness, untinged by philosophical speculation or fruitive activities. They are all understood to be pure devotees, and those among them who simply engage in conjugal love are called Madhurya Bhaktas, or internal devotees. The loving services in parental love, fraternity, and servitude are included in conjugal love of God. In conclusion, therefore, every confidential devotee is a pure devotee of the Lord. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu enjoys his pastimes with his immediate expansion, Nityananda Prabhu. His pure devotees and his 3 Purusha incarnations, namely Karanodakashayi Vishnu, Garbhodakashayi Vishnu, and Chirodakashayi Vishnu, always accompany the Supreme Lord to propound the Sankirtan movement. And we'll stop tonight for the readings. This is a good stopping place. Hare Krishna. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai. Shri Pantatattva ki jai. Gaur Premanandi. Hari Hari Bol. Okay, now it comes to you guys. You're in the hot seat now. Isn't it wonderful how Prabhupada preaches and repeats things again and again, but each time in a little tiny different way, so that it will sink in, the differences. I guess I can start us off. One of the things that struck me was how, or one of the reasons why the Lord appears as the Panchatattva. And that is to teach the Mayavadis that there are varieties in the spiritual world, and he challenges them by appearing. The Lord challenges them as appearing as a Panchatattva. So they will be forced to distinguish between the different energies and the varieties of the spiritual world. Actually, every single living being is different. The variety is unlimited because every single living being is different. And the Lord relishes. He doesn't relish if we all be the same. That's a misconception. Sometimes devotees look at each other and analyze one another as if they should be all the same. And if they're not the same, like a cookie cutter, they're supposed to be all the same. But devotees are not like that. Each one of them is unique, and Krishna understands when the devotee is individually, the devotee is giving their particular service. He understands who did it, who did that particular service, because he has an individual and personal relationship with each and every one of us. Okay, come on. You can do it.
Something from Rati Manjari.
Rati Manjari, the brave one, we call her.
She must still be typing, but she says, Dear Guru Maharaj, excuse me. Dear Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. I have a question for my personal clarification, to see if I understood well. I had heard that devotees were at some point chanting Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda and so on, and that Srila Prabhupada stopped that. Tonight you said that Srila Prabhupada said we should not chant Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda and so on. Are both terms forbidden by Srila Prabhupada?
Well, because the mantra, this is when we get hung up on technicalities. The point is that the mantra is Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Jai Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. That's the mantra. So when you add something to it, you're adding something to the mantra. It's true that some devotees were chanting Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya, and some were doing Jai Shri Krishna. There are different sects in India who do that, and Prabhupada and he stopped it for two reasons. One is because it's not the mantra, and it's a manufactured mantra to attach another. Sometimes you hear the devotees when they get ecstatic, they go, "Oh, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna," or they, Om Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. They do these things, but that's not the mantra. Mantra has 32 syllables. 32 syllables. So yes, either Jai or Bhaja added to the Panchatattva mantra is mistaken.
from Saurabh.
Hare Krishna Sarva.
He says, thank you, Maharaj. Rati Manjari referred to as encouragement personified. Thank you for encouraging the reading of Srila Prabhupada's books.
Thank you, Prabhu, for being there regularly to hear Srila Prabhupada's books. to get a taste for reading these books. That's really important. Because when you get a taste for reading Prabhupada's books, you automatically get a taste for his association, for the association of all the pure devotees that are glorified in his books, what to speak of the incarnations of Krishna and Sri Krishna and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu themselves. This is how we get the taste, by associating with them.
And Rati Manjari says, thank you. As a kirtaniya, that is meaningful information for me.
Absolutely. Especially when you get a little ecstatic and you start ad-libbing. But that doesn't mean that we can't ad-lib, but it means we shouldn't ad-lib on the Maha Mantras, especially this Panchatattva Maha Mantra and the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. We can offer our individual prayers to the Lord, but even then, there are elements of prayer that we should learn from chanting the prayers of liberated souls. And that way we learn what the proper things to say to the Lord are, And eventually, when we get to be spontaneous and are in Goloka Vrindavan, in our original relationships, then it won't be so formulaic, or it's not formulaic exactly, but it won't be so, it'll be completely spontaneous there. Yes.
Something from Sudevi Dasi.
Hare Krishna Sudevi Dasi.
She says, Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. I'm starting to understand some of it now, but it's complicated. I really enjoy hearing, and I want you to know that I vow to hear your readings as long as I live. And if you leave first, I will continue to hear your recordings, because it is changing my everyday life for the best.
Thank you very much. You've made that crystal clear. You're my god sister and worshipable, therefore. And it's very clear. Thank you.
And then there's something from Gopal Roy.
Haribol Gopal Roy, Hare Krishna.
He says, could you please explain the difference? Could you please explain the difference between Bhakta Rupa, Bhakta Swarupa, and Bhakta Avatar, please, in regards to the Panchatattva?
Well, we just said it. It said it about 3 or 4 or 5 times. I can't say anything more than what Prabhupada says to explain it. The Bhakta Rupa is Krishna, is Lord Chaitanya rather, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And the Bhakta Swarupa is the expansion in terms of, he's called the original spiritual master because considers himself a servant of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then the incarnation is the first expansion of theirs that have something to do with the creation of the material world. He's Mahavishnu. That's the difference. The difference is that the Bhakta Rupa is Krishna, Lord Chaitanya, rather, and the Swarupa is the expansion, Lord Nityananda, and the incarnation is the expansion of Lord Nityananda, which is Advaitacharya. And each one of them are Vishnu Tattva. They're Krishna. They're different expansions of Krishna, the same personality. Expansions of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, or Sri Krishna. The difference is in the mood. But in the Panchatattva, they all have the term bhakta because they're all acting as devotees. But they have different moods. This requires a little maturity to understand. Lord Chaitanya, he considers Lord Nityananda his superior because Lord Nityananda is appearing as his older brother. Just like Lord Balaram is the older brother of Krishna in relationship. But Lord Balaram always considers himself a servant of Lord Krishna. And Lord Nityananda always considers himself a servant of Lord Chaitanya. But because they're acting as devotees, they are acting as each other's servants. And Krishna sometimes acts as Lord Balaram's servant because he has a relationship of an older brother. Balaram is the older brother. Sometimes when Mother Yashoda starts to send them off to the forest, she gives instructions to everybody. She tells Lord Balaram and the others, you protect Krishna. You stand here, you stand here, you stand here. They surround Krishna so they can protect him from anything. I don't know what more I can say than that. That's pretty much it. I'm sure there's lots more to say. Does that make sense? I'm just repeating what I just heard from the Caitanya-caritämrta. I don't have anything new to manufacture.
There's something else from Rati Manjari.
Hare Krishna Rati.
She says, does this also count for reciting the Panchatattva before any round which we chant, to leave out the Jaya part? I guess it does.
Of course. What difference is it? The mantra is the mantra. The mantra is the mantra. Not I can chant something different because I'm chanting it before the Hare Krishna mantra, then I'm chanting, it's the mantra, the Panchatattva Mahamantra. Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shivasari Gaurbhai. And Prabhupada repeats it 3 or 4 times in that one purport just to show us this is the mantra. But we're so stubborn, we think we need to put something, we can add something to it to make it better, or something. That's the problem. We shouldn't concoct. But we will get the depth of understanding and experience from the purification of heart that comes from chanting these mantras strictly and not making things up. The Panchatattva mantra is chanted before the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra because the Panchatattva are coming as devotees. And devotees are more merciful than Krishna in the sense, even when he's acting as the devotee of himself, he's in a sense more merciful than Krishna himself because he's giving freely Krishna prema. Namo Mahavaranyaya Krishna prema pradayate. So, and the other Panchatattva members are assisting him in doing that. And we will hear more about this in a few verses in this chapter. How they did that, what their mentality was, why they did it. We'll hear about this in a little bit later.
Rati says it's another proof that in this process it does not work to be sentimental.
Yeah, you can't concoct, you can't speculate. You need to accept and then follow strictly. And then in that way, eventually you'll come to the spontaneous platform. You can jump on, you can be a coward boy and jump on another coward boys, or even jump on Krishna's back and play with him. But you can't do that unless you're completely free of material desire. Completely. So the Panchatattva Maha Mantra we chant before the Maha Mantra because the Krishna in the form of a devotee does not consider offenses. But there are offenses to be considered in the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Because that's Radha and Krishna. That's intimate stuff, intimate relationship. Just like if a person has a conjugal relationship with another person, and they're having their affairs, other people can't come in. It's offense, embarrassment, offense. That's why especially we heard about the Gauranga Nagaris, who placed Lord Chaitanya in the center of the rasa dance as Krishna. This is offense, serious offense. It's disturbing the Lord's mood. He wants to act like a devotee and taste what it's like to be a devotee. And you put him in the center of the rasa dance as Krishna. You put him in the center as the enjoyer. And that's a disturbance. It's an offense. It's just like if you say something and do something to a very big personality, you become the president of the country or the prime minister or the king or whoever is really a huge person or even a big celebrity, and you meet them, you just don't say anything. You have to be careful. So Lord Chaitanya, you also have to be careful, Lord Chaitanya, in his form of a sannyasi especially. We don't worship him in the form of a sannyasi. We worship in the form of a householder before he joined. It took sannyas on the altar in terms of our formal worship. But anyway, we'll hear this whole book, and we're only 7 chapters into the first, part of the book, and there's 17 plus 25 plus 20, 45 plus 17, 52 chapters? Yeah. 17 plus 25 is 42, and 20 is 62. 62 chapters, and we're only on chapter 7. So don't expect to learn everything just because, of course, you've heard it many times before, and therefore these kinds of questions come out. But let us hear together like this, and let the intimate details or the details gradually be revealed to us. I like to hear these books as if I'm hearing them for the first time. And it seems like I'm hearing them for the first time every time I hear them, because I learn something new and I taste something new every time. It gives me real taste for spiritual life. Hare Krishna.
Rati says, that's such a good point that even on the material platform we cannot enter a relationship between two persons. It is true and helpful for me to hear that. Thank you for making the important things clear in so many different ways.
That's what Prabhupada wanted. He wanted us to discuss this philosophy from all points of vision, from all angles of vision, so that we can understand thoroughly and deeply, and then we'll be able to apply it in all aspects of our life. What else?
From Doyle Nitai Prabhu.
Doyle Nitai, Hare Krishna.
He says, Dear and respected Srila Guru Maharaj, please accept my obeisances. Is the understanding that in his pre-sannyas pastimes, devotees are welcome to offer prayers to Lord Chaitanya, referring to Mahaprabhu as the Supreme Person, while after sannyas they would rather assist in his meditation on him being a servant of Krishna?
No, he's always a servant of Krishna. We don't worship him as Krishna before he took sannyas and a servant of Krishna after he took sannyas. We worship him as a servant of Krishna all the time. but we know is Krishna. The point is, Krishna came as a devotee. Therefore, he wants to be treated as a devotee. I mean, when Lord Chaitanya first came out, then he had to reveal himself, who he was to his devotees. So there are instances of that, like the Mahaprakash, where he shows his features of his eternal forms that match the mood of his various devotees. But still, from our point of view, that's pastime. From our point of view, we worship him as a devotee of Krishna in our mood. Even though he did that to reveal who he was, still, he didn't like to be called Krishna. He considered himself a devotee of Krishna. But because to establish the reality, he would sometimes, in certain intimate moments before he took sannyas, he would bring the devotees together and he would reveal who he was. But then after the Mahaprakash darshan, then he said to all his devotees, I'll be your such and such, I'll be your such and such, I'll be your such and such, I'll be your Nishinga, I'll be your Varaha, I'll be so many things. But right now I want you to help me to spread this Sankirtan movement. And there's unlimited more things to say about these things, but we don't have time to say them all. We can't know everything at once. We can only know what we know. We can only know what we've realized. What else?
Gopal Roy says, beautiful Maharaj, thank you.
Hare Krishna. All right, thank all of you very much for your lovely reflections and lovely questions and churning the ocean of transcendental rasa, transcendental mellows of Krishna consciousness. We'll see you all tomorrow night. Shri Caitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai. Shri Caitanya-caritämrta ki jai. Shri Panchatattva ki jai. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda. Shri Advaita Gadadhar. Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Somebody has one more thing? Okay.
He says there are many devotee prayers which do address Lord Chaitanya to be the Supreme. In which way are they pleasing?
In which way are they pleasing?
He says, in which way are they then pleasing?
Internally, Lord Chaitanya is pleased. But in the pastimes themselves, he's not pleased when the devotees would call him Krishna. But internally, and he would be angry sometimes, but internally, he was pleased. So we know he's Krishna, and we glorify him as Krishna, but in his pastimes, we don't want to make it awkward for him. So therefore, we don't. But in prayers, we do. Anyway, Hare Krishna. It's not a mechanical formula. It's not like that. It's not a mathematical formula. You always have to do the mathematical formula exactly this way or that way for it to come out. One side of the equation, the other side of the equation. It's not like that. These are confidential, Yeah, it's not a law. I don't mean to put it that, I didn't mean to say it like it's a law. The main thing is that Lord Chaitanya is coming as a devotee of Krishna, and he wants to act like a devotee. So even when people would glorify him in the pastime as the Lord, it would make him feel uncomfortable and he wouldn't like it. But externally, he would be pleased. Does that make any sense?
He says clear. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shivasari Gaur Bhakta-vrinda, Shri Caitanya-caritämrta ki jai. Samaveda Bhakta-vrinda ki jai. Gaur Prem Anandi Hari Hari Bol. See you tomorrow night. Hare Krishna.